We love horror movies from the 70s and 80s, and we watch them for 2 days straight, and then we go write a book. Now we're looking back at every title, one at a time, in this podcast that we put out monthly. Once we've had an episode for every movie, it's time to meet up for another Shock Marathon. Oh yeah, the red record light is red, which means it's time for another exciting edition of the Shock Marathons podcast. I'm Matt Farley. I'm here with Tom Scalzo.
Hello.
And Charlie Roxburgh.
Greetings.
And I just would like to say, maybe every once in a while I regret the theme song, where I guarantee that we will do this monthly, because the end of the month kind of creeps up on us. and then it's like, oh man, gotta live up to the song though, right guys?
We've done the same thing with Moe's Haven. We set these goals for ourselves in our music that we then have to do.
I know.
It's good.
Otherwise we'd do nothing. So let's do what we're forcing ourselves to do and discuss Sorority House Massacre, which gets a copyright 1986 in the closing credits. Might have been released after that, but it was filmed in 86 apparently. And
Feels right.
It feels right, and it feels like it's right on the wrong side of 1985.
Yep.
So the opening credits show the sorority house at dusk, and and we sit through the credits. The only exciting moment is when it says sorority house, and then massacre is written in blood, and there's like blood dots all over the screen. Very exciting. Now we see a girl in some kind of a hospital, explaining what happened. It all started when she entered the sorority house. I forgot about this until just now, guys. So wait, The whole movie is a flashback, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh,
So unnecessary.
Screenwriting class 101, where they're like, here's the deal. You don't have to start with the beginning. You can start with the end.
Oh, it's
Mind
real
blown.
bad. Real bad. We're going to get to it in a moment, so I'm going to hold back. But, all right, so her name is Beth. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but she has other names. So Beth's only her middle name or something, right?
That's her middle name, yes.
Oh, God.
But that's what she goes by.
She goes
in
by
normal
Beth
life.
now.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
she got adopted by her aunt. So then we get a long, annoying point of view shot of wandering through the sorority house, which seems to be mostly empty. Turns out this is a dream that Beth is having, one of many. And dream equals bad, usually, in films. And this is no exception to that rule.
This practically makes the rule. Like, if you ever need that rule reinforced, you watch this.
Yeah, it's called the sorority house rule of filmmaking. You're right, yeah. Meanwhile, we flash into reality, where the main girl is coming into the sorority house. And keep in mind, this is all a flashback that's never mentioned until the very end of the movie, I guess. And
Right.
even then, not so much, I think.
Barely. And she's not a member of the sorority house. There's no reason for her to even be there.
Why is she there? And so the house happens, it turns out, to be the house where her entire family was murdered by her brother, and she was spared. Right? Is that right?
That is correct.
She hid out in the basement in a very small place.
So the place turned into a sorority house, and now she just wanders in. Apparently, I guess that she's there to kind of test whether she wants to join the sorority. Is that the vague reason we're given?
I guess, but no one's there. It's like a holiday.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, maybe you'll like the atmosphere of this house and you want to join. Are they like really desperate for pledges?
It's real
Maybe,
dumb.
yeah.
Why did?
It's
Yeah,
a stretch.
it's real dumb. So now we don't know. Half the time is she the one dreaming, or is it the guy in the insane asylum who's dreaming? I don't even know half the time. But
They share one consciousness.
oh, isn't that deep? Meanwhile, there's the guy is in the asylum, and he apparently is her brother, I guess, in a very Halloween-esque plot. let's listen to the orderlies at the asylum discussing this guy's case.
Jesus Christ. Did you see the look on that mother's face?
Should we have taped him up like that?
You want to listen to him all night?
No. Maybe we should call Dr. Lindsay.
No, let the lady sleep. She'll be here in the morning.
Should we have taped him up like that? That's fun, huh?
Yeah, that is fun.
Okay. And
The
just
security at this place is highly suspect, and he seems like the prime candidate for being like really locked up, and they're just like they just casually open the door and
like
see what he's up
multiple
to.
times.
Yeah.
so just to get this straight, this is all a flashback that Beth is telling in the hospital, but within the flashback we get details of the orderlies discussing the guy's case in the asylum, and potentially we're seeing the man's dreams. I would like to, I want to be in this hospital room where she's like, meanwhile, at the at the local asylum, my brother was having a tough day.
I'm telling you, they share a consciousness. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yep. Everything comes along with that consciousness. You get talking about like break times and who's going on vacation. And it's a lot.
So now we're watching her dream where she's walking into the house, and three little girls tell her to be careful. I guess this dream continues where she walks inside, and then three mannequins are sitting on the dining room table. Boring. Blood is dripping from the ceiling into the dining room. It seems endless, and I hate watching dreams. She keeps finding blood all over the house in the dream. Charlie, what do you make of this?
In this dream, and in every dream, there's no menace, and you know that none of it is really happening.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of artsy stuff, trying to do artsy shots, sort of. But any horror movie, it's like suspense, or you're like, oh, is this person gonna get God, or here's what the killer's doing. It's like, no, it's just an artsy dream.
It makes the dreams in the jar that much great. But have we discussed the jar on the podcast? We have, right?
Yeah, that was one of the very, very first ones.
Look up the jar, listeners. It's a great episode.
Jar is great because the jar blends reality and dream. You don't know what's real, and it's just crazy, which is great. This, it's a dream,
and you're just waiting for it to end. Yeah. All right, now she's awake. All the girls are getting ready. Lots of them are leaving for the weekend. They're all borrowing each other's clothes. In the bathroom, one of the girls asks Beth if Beth's ready for major fun. Beth says she could use it. Then we see a 2-second scene in which the bad guy is somehow breaking through his chains. Did you notice how often they would cut back to the asylum and then back to the sorority house in ridiculously short times? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I don't know that he necessarily has supernatural strength. Maybe it's sort of a Michael Myers situation, but he didn't have a plan. He didn't have a weapon that he secreted and then was able to slice. He just pulled hard. It was just a regular man pulling hard on those things, and they all broke. It's like they're designed to not do that.
Let's listen to Beth discuss how her aunt died.
Glum. Her aunt died, but that was weeks ago.
God, Tracy, get sensitive. Her aunt raised her. It's like her mom died.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
Well, I've got 9 o'clock.
Great, we can all walk together.
Forgive me, it's not Beth discussing it. It's the girls discussing it. And I don't know. It's better. I'd rather watch them talk than watch another dream sequence, huh?
Yeah. I think
They're
if
really
somebody
not that
wanted...
bad.
Yeah, that's true. If someone wanted to watch an 80s movie with girls, they're acting very girly, and it does have the 80s styles, it at least covers that.
So they all walk to class. Beth goes back to get something, and when she's in there, she sees an image of the bad guy in the mirror with a knife. Meanwhile, that guy's going nuts in his room back at the asylum. And then we, again, a super short cut to the asylum. In a movie that's incredibly short to begin with. 1 hour and 14 minutes. Thank God, huh, Tom?
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it through otherwise. My schedule would not have permitted it.
Yeah, we're not spending our time well. Like in these busy lives we have, we devoting an hour and 14 minutes to watching this movie again.
And it's amazing because it feels like parts of it pick up, but it feels longer than that. Like there's some movies that are like, it's like 2 hours long and you don't notice it, but this one is like, oh my god, I can't believe it's only.
It always looks the same. Yeah, you don't get refreshed with like a new look on something. And they tried to save money by always using the same sorority house, having all the girls go on vacation, so there's just a few people, and it just kind of feels the same. And then they come back to the asylum, which is like after hours. There's 2 people there. It feels the same. You know.
Let's listen to one of the girls. They get to school. They're all going to their classes, and we watch as one of them is going in time for a pop quiz in psychology. Let's listen to this.
Okay, people, books under your desks. Here we go. Compare, contrast, and comment on the differences and similarities in theory and in therapeutic practice between traditional psychoanalysis and behavior modification.
Great. A pop psychology quiz.
Now, is that when she says pop? Is that supposed to be a joke because people say pop psychology and then pop quiz, Charlie?
Yes, it's supposed to be it's a too clever for its own good kind of joke.
It doesn't. Other than that, it has 2 meanings. It's not funny, right?
Correct. It's just the screenwriter trying to show off and then kind of being, too clever for his or her own good.
I love classroom settings in horror movies, and this is all right. I like listening to the professor talk, and it's always fun to hear what they're talking about in there because it's usually weird.
Yeah.
So
like Charlie was saying though, like we only get a couple seconds of that, and we get a couple seconds like at the movie theater, and it's another lame joke. She's like reading Self magazine, and like the movie they're watching is about like people's preoccupation with the self, and so it's like the only like change of scenery is for lame jokes, and then we go right back.
Yeah. And with like these characters, I don't know other than Beth. I really don't know any of these girls one from the next. They're just none of them have much of a personality.
Right, and Beth's only personality is she's down in the dumps.
She's
all
such
the
a
time.
downer. I can't stand her.
Sorority is not the place for her. These girls don't want to deal with this.
So Beth goes to class, and she has yet another violent vision, and makes a noise, and everyone stares at her, and that's apparently embarrassing. So she's been attending class all this time, living at her aunt's, but now that her aunt's dead, she has to move into the sorority. I assume we don't know the answer, but Tom, is that what you gleaned?
I think she needs a place to stay, I guess. So she's thinking about joining the sorority. It just happens to be where she used to live, and her family got killed.
Let's listen.
I guess.
Let's listen to Andy tell a fascinating story to someone who I believe is named Sarah, but again, I don't know any of these characters.
You'll like this. Some studies show that brain waves can be transmitted and received like light and sound waves.
Really? The actual brainwave?
Yeah, they did this really neat experiment where they took a mother cat and separated her from her kittens by hundreds of miles. Then, when they killed the kittens...
They killed the kittens?
The mother cat cried at the exact moment that each kitten died. She knew what was happening by brainwave. Now admit it, that's amazing.
Forget amazing. It's cruel. That's really horrible, Andy.
It's okay, Sarah.
It is not. Talk about reptilian behavior.
Talk about reptilian behavior. Yeah, I get that's yet again the screenwriter trying to be smart. Charlie?
I don't really like it, but it is kind of in the family of the diatribe on fear. You know, where you get one college student just laying out a bunch of psychology or you know, some kind of theory.
And I just realized this is their way of explaining why Beth has a connection with her brother.
Oh, the whole movie comes down to 2 side characters passing comment about one experiment.
And they mentioned in the scene before that, they mentioned the same thing about pigs. Remember, the family pig went from Ohio to Florida to follow the people that moved because of psychic connections.
I so
You're right.
misunderstood.
You're right.
I didn't realize it was a pig. I thought they were talking about people in that scene. That changes everything. Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean.
But either way, yeah.
They played that for comedy, but it actually was relating the plot.
This is actually a brilliant screenplay. The more we analyze it. All right, now we get
waste more time by restarting the podcast.
Now we get a boring scene where the doctor speaks to the crazy guy through his brain waves. Oh, remember this scene? So they've connected some like printer thing to his brain somehow, and then they'll ask him a question, and then they know his answer based on how much the brainwaves cause the paper to be written on, which is just insane. Like, what is going on here? Like, apparently the guy doesn't talk, except he says Laura. It's like the first time he's been verbal. And so apparently is Laura Beth? Is that what's going on there, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, Laura's Beth. So now meanwhile, we should note, this whole story is being told by Beth in the hospital. So... Again, she's like, and then back at the asylum, they hooked up wires to my brother's brain. Like this
it makes no sense. You have to forget about the flashback.
I got it. Okay, I'll let it go. So then he has a vision. That same vision as Beth. He freaks out a bit in front of the house. She freaks out in front of the house mom, who's leaving for the weekend. Boring scene, not even worth talking about.
It is.
Okay, tell us.
One reason. When she leaves, she makes the offhand comment that there's a spare key in the basement.
Oh yeah.
Which turns out to be. Yeah, who does that? It's like she doesn't even tell her where it is. Like, in the basement somewhere, you'll find a key if you need it.
It's the most dark, cluttered place to put a key, and possibly even locked.
And what's going on? The door, like, people lock themselves in this sorority? Is that what's going on? The front door, you can't just get out?
Who knows? Yeah, you have to use a key to get out.
That's a bad setup. I mean, you would think that fire code would not permit that.
Well, that's why they have a fire ladder.
They thought of everything. All right, let's listen to the few girls who will be there for the weekend talking about all the fun that they can have.
Didn't expect you.
Obviously not.
Oh, sorry. This is wrong moment. This is totally worth it, though. Hang in there, folks. Let's listen to the few girls who will be there talk about the fun they're going to have.
All right, the whole place to ourselves. Let's eat Melanie's ice cream.
God, do you know what I've always wanted to do? I mean, like, if time stopped for everyone except me. Try on Cindy's clothes.
Yes! Come on, Beth. This is once in a lifetime.
All right, that's good. That's a memorable moment.
Yeah, that's good.
These girls dream big.
So that's fun. Now we get a scene where they're trying on all the clothes. Lots of cuts to the outfits being thrown in the air. And did you notice that the shots match up with the drum? Anytime the drum solo is happening, or a drum fill, like they cut to clothing to match the drum beat. Huh, Charlie?
MTV was king right around then. So yeah.
So that's a fun trying on clothes scene. That's a good time. Then we get to check back in the loony bin for a few seconds, where the crazy guy attacks one of the orderlies and then heads out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's thrilling. And then Beth tells the girls about the dreams that continue to torment her all day as they eat ice cream. Let's listen to the girls expressing their opinion of what Beth might be going through. The girls really they take on Beth's case in a way. I would be kind of keeping my distance from Beth, but the girls are totally into it. Let's listen.
I know, it's really scary.
Okay, the first thing to realize is it is just a dream. There's nothing to be afraid of. Dreams are only your subconscious's way of talking to you.
Beth, if your subconscious asks for me, I'm not here, okay?
You know, I have a book that explains dream symbols. I'll get it and we'll crack this baby.
I like these moments. These are fun 80s horror escapades that I don't like the fact that it's about dreams. That's the only thing, though, Charlie.
Yeah, and right around this time, I think that the killer has gone to the hardware store.
Okay,
To get a weapon, and he smashes that case.
Yeah, that's coming up. Yeah,
case?
that's coming up next. That's the next scene. Yeah,
That's next. Okay, so another thing I don't totally like or have a handle on is, were they stealing from Halloween just because it works, or is this movie trying to be a little bit smart for its own good and make like a comment on Halloween sometimes? It really is just stealing from it quite a lot.
Yeah.
And in ways that are pointless and draw attention to themselves. Like, he could have gotten the knife just from a house or something like that. And I don't know why they keep going out of their way to make all these things match up exactly with Halloween, with elements that aren't going to make it more money or make it more sellable. Like the exact scene in a hardware store, going to a hardware store or stealing a station wagon. Why didn't he just get like a regular sedan or something? They had to pick some car to film with.
Yeah.
Or take a bus.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, it's just annoying, and I didn't like it.
And worse. It's just like Halloween, except worse.
Yeah.
Like no suspense or whatever. Although I liked it when he stabbed the poor guy in the stomach, the hardware store guy. He's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was no nonsense. That was okay.
Let's listen to a little more, because we haven't gotten enough. A little more dream analysis from the girls.
Okay. Dolls. Frequently represents childhood. Well, that was easy.
Dolls equal childhood. For this, you need your book.
Wait, Beth said they seemed alive. Living dolls. That's us, right?
Hey, I would appreciate it if you people would stop trampling all over my major. Dream imagery is a really personal thing. You can't figure it out with books like that.
Now, the fancy table setup.
I bet that's the party.
I'll go for that. This says it's family or social situations.
But that can't be right. I'm not terrified of planning a party. What does a guy with a knife mean?
Means you're weird, girl. Look, the guy probably represents the opposite sex. There's nothing specific you recognize about him, right?
Right.
And the knife's obviously fear, which would tie in with the bloody catcher's mitt. Fright associated with a male object.
Male object is right. The knife is a phallic symbol.
Uh-oh, Beth. Spilled your innermost beans here. Scared of sex?
All right. So, that's a lot. That is a lot of dream analysis, huh, Tom?
Yeah, and the best is, the girl who's taking, she's a psychology major. She's like, you guys, we can't learn anything from this book. Like, and then you think she's gonna go into like her own analysis, and she just doesn't. They just keep reading the book.
And it seems like those would be the books from her major. Like, it's like a textbook.
Yeah, and also I just don't buy that this is how they deal with Beth. Like, I feel like they would just be like, "Oh, let's stay away from from her."
It's their party weekend.
Yeah, and they're stuck analyzing this annoying girl's dream the whole time.
They could be eating more ice cream.
I know.
From whose ice cream was it? Someone's ice cream. After trying on Cindy's clothes, go get Melanie's ice cream. Eat like $1.29 worth of the carton. Just live it up.
The only names I remember are the people off camera, the people Melanie's clothes, and yeah, Tom.
There's one. I don't remember their names either, but the one girl who ends up going out into the teepee, she's kind of like, all right, I've had enough of this thing. Like, this is bringing me down. Let's go have fun. And you think like the whole there's a lot of buildup with like this teepee and like whatever is going on in the backyard, and like that could have been, like Charlie was saying, it could have been like a change of scenery. Like they could have like had like some sort of party thing going on back there and like switched between the two groups or something. But they like sort of like have established it, and then it's like nothing, and then they go back inside.
Yeah, they waste it, and which they don't waste a lot of dialogue. We're learning right now, that they do set up a lot of stuff, so they kind of knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then the bad guy steals a car from a woman. She chases after it, but she can't stop him. That's slightly exciting, Tom.
Sorry, in the credits, gas station woman is credited as Hammer. So
Oh, wow.
Let's
had,
hear
had
it
to
for
throw that in there.
I wonder if she's still working.
Hammer.
Yeah, get her agent. Oh, wow.
So now we are led to believe that we're watching this guy arrive at the house in the car, but it's a bunch of guys. It's frat guys who want to party with the ladies, which, you know, I don't like it when a movie does that. You know, it does a point of view shot, and it's clearly trying to make you think that it's the killer, and then, oh, surprise, it's just the party guys. Charlie, you agree?
I don't really love it, but I think you dislike it more than I do.
Fair enough. All right. So they try setting up the teepee. One couple goes in to hold it steady, and then they start kissing, and they fall over in a very contrived scene, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom.
But we must not forget that the jock guy that had his jersey on. Are you going to talk about that?
No, well, you tell us anyway.
That he is supposed to, you know, be there, you know, with his girl, but he decides to go rafting.
Oh yeah, that's a theme. Yeah, she's so annoyed. She's like,
Yeah.
"Don't you want to spend the weekend with me?" She's like, "Nah, babe, going rafting."
That was good. If he had not been specific enough to say rafting, I would have hated it. If he was just like, I gotta go. But add that in, a whole nother world opens as in your mind as the viewer. You think, oh, where's he going? And he's gonna be on the river. It's so specific, it works.
Yeah.
All right.
It's great.
So now the fuse box has gone out. The girls accuse the boys of playing with it. Do we ever learn for sure who? We don't know who did it, right? I guess we assume the bad guy did it, but is he even on the premises at that point? I don't know. Tom is saying no.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So
I don't think he was there yet.
Who knows? But let's listen to them around the fire talk about the history of this house.
Wait a minute. Are you saying this is a haunted house?
Well, think about it. I mean, what makes a house haunted? It's where a bad thing happened. And you can't do much worse than this guy did.
I read somewhere that ghosts are just people's psychic energy that stays in a place.
Uh-oh. Somewhere someone's killing kittens. I can feel it.
Andy!
Oh, Andy, you're so funny. All right, so now we get to cut to a car driving, and then we get back to the story.
Oh, there's a part right around here where one of the girls doesn't like all this talk around the scary talk around the fire, and she says, "Come on, let's catch some tube," which is a saying that has not stood the test of time, and it may have never actually been in any test of any time.
I'm bringing it back.
No one has ever said that.
Let's catch some tube. All right,
so catch some tube.
So we get more backstory about how the guy killed his parents in this very room. The story's given Beth some vivid thoughts, as unsurprisingly. She goes upstairs because she's spooked. The rest of the story is that the guy killed his whole family here 13 or 14 years ago. Tom?
I just got to say, like, when they were talking about this weekend and they were trying to build Beth's excitement up, they said this is going to be a weekend of fun, right?
Yeah,
and it was,
yes.
It's like sitting around the fire telling ghost stories and then watching TV. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's not going to help her.
Well, I think maybe Beth is a reason why it's not torpedoing into the level of fun they hoped for. She's really bringing it down. So she's got a guy who's kind of set up to be with her, and she apologizes to him for being no fun. Then she goes into her room for the night. The rest of the group's around the TV. Well, the TV works, by the way, but the lights don't. Just want to note that, okay? Noted.
Good point.
What are they watching? Are they actually watching Halloween?
It might be. Yeah, I suspected it was, but it's a very quick cut.
Yeah, I thought it was Halloween. Tom?
Yeah, it kind of sounded like it, but it was hard to tell.
So Beth has another vision of someone stabbing at her. She screams, and everyone comes up to help her. And naturally, the next thing that's going to happen is they're all going to discuss her dream. It's very boring, and I'm going to play it for you. But first, Charlie, what do you have to say?
Okay, I need to ask you guys this. Did you notice a few times when it seemed like Beth's lines were dubbed?
I did not notice.
Okay, I don't know, but for me, there were 3 or 4 times where I could have sworn that everyone else was normal, recorded on the day dialogue, but her mouth like wasn't moving right, or stuff didn't have the same recorded quality to it, and it was making me wonder why the heck, what happened to make that go down? I don't know, but it added a level of weirdness for me. But I have no facts.
You listen on headphones, though, right?
Yeah,
that might have
possible.
Yeah,
possible.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the whole movie again. Let's listen to them discuss their dream.
Dream? The same dream. I mean, more of the same dream.
Beth, do you always have nightmares like this? 'Cause one thing about being a sorority is, other people have to sleep.
I don't get it. I've never had bad dreams. Something really awful must be going on inside my head.
Maybe it's being in all these strange rooms. You should stay with Sarah and me tonight.
Thanks. But I don't feel much like sleep right now.
I totally, and through my headphones right now, I could hear a difference in the audio, by the way, Charlie. Sounds like some dubbing was going on.
It's really for only her, too. And it seemed like she was such a soft talker. That was my inkling, that something was up with that actress's dialogue.
I hate the character, though. It's just like, Beth, you're bringing everybody down. Who do we want to cheer on? A happy girl next door who's dealing with like the daughter and the stepfather. She's great. You can root for her. But Beth, it's just like, Beth, everyone in this house is going to be killed because of you. And I like everyone else more than you, and I don't even like them.
Yeah. You go to the video store in like 1988 to pick out something that you're going to watch for a sleepover, and it's going to be, you like you said, you can root for. It's kind of zany. It's like it has people that you maybe aspire to or enjoy spending time with.
Yeah.
They don't give you any of that.
They just give you dream analysis. So much dream analysis.
Nobody likes it.
Nobody likes it.
It's kind of like Friday the 13th Part 2, right? Is that the one they do this kind of? Like there's similar characters, but that's obviously way better. But.
Yeah, but I guess at the end the girl uses her knowledge of psychology to confuse Jason, right?
We could write
kind of similar. It's kind of similar.
Yeah, but that's the that's the Citizen Kane versus those two movies. Yeah, a million times more fun.
Yeah.
So we get to check in with the doctor. She arrives home, but like they kind of make a big deal over the fact that she hasn't checked her messages yet. Like, ooh, she's walked into her house, and the answering machine is just sitting there waiting for her to press play. Will she listen? Charlie.
That is the most amazing thing. The tension and the suspense they're trying to get out of the answering machine. But there's another scene when they call her where an actual scene occurs in the film where an orderly and a policeman don't get through. And then they discuss that they had to leave a message. And that's the scene in the movie. Of course, as a flashback too, if you think of it in those terms. But that policeman does like nothing. He almost does nothing.
Does he even leave his desk?
He says, "Don't your doctors have pagers?" And the guy's like, "Are you kidding me?" And they just dismiss the concept.
What does that mean? That means they're too expensive for these kind of doctors?
Who knows? I would say too expensive because this asylum they don't spend a lot of money at all.
But they have a brainwave reading machine. That must have cost a pretty penny.
That broke the budget, and then they had nothing left for But
they don't have doors that lock.
They're like, will she get the message is the big question, and it's inconsequential too. Whether she gets the message does not affect anything else going on in the movie. I can imagine Beth at the hospital saying, "And then." The doctor came home, but she didn't press play.
Message or not?
The woman listening to her story at the hospital must be so bored. And then they analyzed my dream a bit more. Stacy said this, and then Jane said this. Okay, one of the girls goes out to check the fuse box, I think. Craig comes up from behind her and gets kneed in the groin. He wants to spend the night in the teepee. She says, okay. And I'm yawning now. Sorry. Let's listen to them gather. I'm sorry for all these clips. Let's listen to them gather around to listen to Beth's dream.
Oh.
There's no way they're going to welcome her into the sorority. Or there shouldn't be. Like, they should be like, all right, like, they should be making, like, little symbols, like, signals to each other, like, let's vote this girl out of the sorority.
Yeah.
Let's hear the clip.
Dream means something serious.
What happened this time?
He killed somebody else.
What?
It's so strange. In my dream, I'm in this house, except everything's different. And there's that guy. Only this time I felt like I knew him, so I wasn't afraid. And then he started killing someone. And all of a sudden, I knew I was next. Oh, God. I'm awake now. I know I'm awake, but I still feel like he's coming for me.
Oh, Beth, nobody cares. No one should care. That's the thing, but they all do. Oh, they all care. They're all totally into it, Tom.
Yeah, I know. It makes no sense. She would be just shunned when everyone else goes to the party. Like, okay, you do what you want to do. We're going to go.
Good luck with your whatever's going on there, Beth. We're out of here. Okay, so she claims that she has a vision of the killer hiding the knife in the fireplace. So they decide to look for it, and it's there, just like she said. Andy picks it up, but it's so hot that he tosses it, and it lands dramatically on the table. And they don't make that big a deal over this revelation, Charlie, which it should be kind of a big deal, right?
It's complete proof that a killer is coming to get them.
And that her vision is correct. Like
everything is true. Everything she said is completely true, and a killer is coming to get them in a few minutes.
And they're just like they're no more or less interested in that than they were in Beth's boring dreams. So real interesting, Tom.
But that scene does bolster my psychic connection theory, because at the time he was hiding that, we must assume she was still hiding in the basement crawl space thing, so she probably wouldn't have seen that. So she's seeing that as he saw it.
Yeah,
back then.
It's
through
not
her
even
flashback.
her. Yeah, it's not even her remembering it from her childhood experience. She's remembering it through his brain, Charlie.
Right.
And apparently, the psychic connection doesn't kick back in until she re-enters the house where the thing happened.
Right.
Because at the beginning, she says it all started when I entered the house. Because if they had psychic connection when she was 10, 11, 12, 13, all these dreams would have been happening. It's not like an Allison's birthday situation where you reach, a certain birthday or some kind of ceremony happens.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just if the house your family was murdered in happens to be the house that you are spending the weekend
pledging a sorority at, and then you go in. Oh,
very unfortunate.
Great
that
news.
is contrived.
Great news, everybody. Everyone was wondering, would the doctor hear the message? Would it happen? Well, great news. We cut back, and now she's listening to the message. Oh, that's so exciting. The doctor gives all the info. So the doctor calls the hospital and gives all the info to the orderly. We learn that there was one survivor, a little girl who's lived with her aunt. That must be Beth. Meanwhile, back in the house, one of the girls suggests that Beth be hypnotized. Beth is all for it. Beth loves being the center of attention, by the way, I should say. Some of the kids aren't taking it seriously. One of them pulls out like a watch and shakes it back and forth, and they're like, that's not how hypnotism works. So that's fun. Andy's got to leave early. He says goodbye to his girlfriend and then is stabbed right outside the house. Andy's the one who told the story of the dead puppies or kittens, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's gone now. He was our comic relief. Now the girls are hypnotizing Beth. She sees visions of her brother Bobby hurting her. Is it Bobby? Is that right? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. This is insufferable, I should add. Charlie.
She already had complete psychic connection and recall to events. Why do they have to hypnotize her? She doesn't even need to remember it. She's living and breathing it like on a daily basis now.
That's right. All the hypnosis does is exactly what's been happening anyway.
It makes it worse.
But it doesn't quite go into. She has more trouble coming out of it, but she finally does and immediately asks, "Am I crazy?" And anyone watching the movie is like, "Yes."
Yes. Why didn't I rent Ghoulies or something?
Yeah. Now we're the crazy ones for watching this. Another girl suggests that Beth had a past life experience, but the hypnotist says, "Sorry, Sarah. I don't believe in that stuff." Hypnosis, on the other hand, completely acceptable. All right, so now a girl and a guy, and I don't know their names, I'm sorry, but they go into the TP to get intimate, and the girl is stabbed through the TP, I think. The people inside can't hear it because they're watching a horror movie, and they think the screaming is from the movie. What a shame. The guy's still alive. He's been hurt to some degree, but he's running naked through the house to warn the others. He tries to call the police, but the lines are dead. Luckily, though, Cindy has a phone in her room, so they go to Cindy's room, but guess what? Just as they're dialing, the killer knows somehow which line to cut to stop that one. I guess it's the same setup as when he lived there, huh, Tom?
Yeah, I guess. He's like, oh, I forgot about that private line. I better go take care of that.
Exactly.
Because Cindy's the fancy one, so that's why she would have her own private line. But of course, he would have no way to know that.
He would have no way.
He cut the main phone, went to the TP, stabbed the girl, and then was like, "Oh, quick! I gotta go back to the private line." All right, so now the killer comes in. The girls and one guy are barricaded in a room. And that's when we learn that they have the fire ladder.
What am I thinking? We have a fire ladder.
It's meant to be revelatory to the audience. Like we're with them as they're brainstorming, and we're on the seat's edge and stuff. And it does not come across.
I almost wish that they had said, like, remember the fire code insisted when the fire department learned that we lock everybody in with a key that's hidden in the basement. They said we needed these.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked it because that girl, the dark haired girl. I don't know what her name is, but maybe it's Sarah actually. At one point, she has a whistle around her neck, and she says, "Oh, my mom made me wear this whistle because of the muggings." And then later, she has a can of mace, and she's like, "Oh, my mom made me carry this because of the incidents on campus." I was just hoping she would say, "Oh, my mom insisted I have a fire ladder." She didn't.
That would have been so much better.
So now, I guess it's that same girl. She's like, "Oh, but he's gone. We can just go out the front." But then another girl puts her ear to the wall and says, no, he's still there. I can hear him breathing," which is ridiculous. So ridiculous. So they drop the fire ladder out the window. The naked guy, who's put on pants, I think, at this point, thank goodness. Yes. He goes down the ladder. The girls start following, but the guy's stabbed by the evil man at the bottom of the ladder. And now the bad guy's climbing up the ladder, and the girl is going back up the ladder trying to avoid him. She gets maybe cut up a little bit. He's grabbing at her ankles, but she gets back in, and they toss the ladder down. But it's too late. The killer's hanging on the windowsill, right, Charlie?
Oh, good. Yeah. I just wanted to talk about the windowsill, so I was hoping that you would get to that. Yes. It is very humbling to a killer, this infamous mass murder killer, to have these sorority girls slamming his fingers in the window, and he's kind of like, "Ow," I think too, and then he just that defeats him for the moment, at least, that he's falling backwards. But it's pretty funny. It becomes like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, or
they're all taking
or the
turns
naked
hitting his
gun
hand.
or something. You know, that would happen. It's like something that happens to Drebin when he's hanging on the side of the building. a Naked Gun. It's funny, but it's not meant to be in this case.
He's dead, right? One of them asks, and I guess they determine he is because they run downstairs and open the front door. And when they do that, Andy, the guy who died a while ago, he falls into the house. He was just, he got himself there, but then died while waiting at the door, or who knows? Who cares? So now they go back up to the barricaded room. Beth has some visions. Then the killer comes falling through the window somehow. So what did he do? He climbed up a tree and then dove into the window? Is that what we have to guess, Tom?
It doesn't make any sense. There's no way he could have been up there.
Beth notes that this is the same guy from her dream. They get outside, but he has them trapped in the backyard now. He calls one of them Janet. The one in the middle, he says, like, you're Janet. And she slips on a body, and so the killer kills her. I'll give the credit to the movie for not worrying about killing off people. They went for it, right, Charlie?
Yes, they did. And I take away credit for letting people go into places that seem like they would have a way out and saying there's none.
There's nothing we could do.
They're outside. I mean, maybe there's a fence around there or something, but they're in a big yard and the killer's coming towards them and they're like, we're trapped. It just feels like, no, you're not in a little room. I mean, you could at least try to run past him or climb the wall or do something. It was not a prison cell.
So now there's only two girls left. They get back in the house somehow, but then they can't get out because of the whole front door situation.
It's the complete opposite of what you want students to be in. Like everything is about having ease of safety and fire codes. This is like let's just lock everything.
Anyone can get in the house, but getting out you need a key. That's how it seems to work there. So they go down to the basement. They hear some police sirens coming and going. Beth explains that she used to live there and he tried to kill her when she was young. She just figured this out somehow. Now we get to check in with a doctor speaking with a detective. She suggests that the killer could be at the house. This is the detective that we mentioned before who I don't think leaves his desk.
He's really not earning his salary.
Not at all.
He didn't do one thing.
Yeah. So the girls in the basement grab shovels, and the girl who's not Beth says, "I wouldn't mind giving that creep a whack with this," you know, like almost like she wants to get back at someone who played a prank on her, you know, like she's not talking about the man who just murdered, 8 of her friends. So then the killer's there and they run upstairs and hold the basement door closed. He starts stabbing through the door. Beth uses her psychic connection with him to wait until just the right moment to tell the other girl when they can run from the door, which is what a great moment, huh, Tom?
You know how much time that bought them? That bought them perhaps less than 10 seconds. It was meant to be like the linchpin genius idea of the movie that here's how you outsmart the killer. You use his evil brainwaves against him. It's like he was mildly inconvenienced by slightly pulling against the knife to remove it from the door. They thought they were clever there.
Much less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, 4 seconds it bought her.
All right, now the killer's on the main floor with the girls. He's after Beth. The other girl is hitting him with a shovel, and it's having no effect, which is fun. He gets Beth against the wall. Then it cuts to another dream. I don't even know what's going on there. But just before he can stab her, Linda hits him in the head with the shovel. And a few whacks later, they once again decide he's dead. "You saved my life," says Beth. "Let's get out of here," says Linda. But turns out the guy's not dead, and he stabs poor Linda. So annoying Beth has caused everyone in the house to die now, and what a shame. So Linda's dead. Beth's crawling on the floor as the guy's grabbing at her ankles. He's trying to get the knife. She's trying to get the knife. She gets it, stabs him right through the neck, and now he's dead. Police arrive on the scene, and now we're back in the hospital. I'd totally forgotten that this is bookended, with the hospital stuff. It turns out her scars are healing, but she's still having those dreams. She nods off and dreams that the guy's in the room with her, and then wakes up, and I guess the lady that's next to her is the lady she was talking to at the beginning. Is that right, Tom?
I don't think we see the person at the beginning, or I don't remember.
Yeah, I blocked it out.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like
seeing the hospital just makes me wish I were watching Creature from Black Lake.
Yeah. Oh, what a
Yeah.
much better hospital moment. Pahu and
Oh,
Reeves.
yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. The opening scene, it's just Beth sitting there in the hospital talking to. Let's listen to it real quick.
Lawrence. Oh, yeah. What happened?
No, we do see it. It is that blonde lady from who's there at the end too. Who
Okay.
So who knows who she is, or who cares? All right, this movie's real bad, real bad. It's got a few lines that are barely a little bit not horrible. Is about the best we have for it, and I like that it's I like making fun of it for being told in a flashback that there's no way she can know these details, but. I mean, that's the only redeeming value I could get for it. Tom, your review?
Yeah, it's actually been a lot more fun analyzing it than watching it.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's pretty slow. It's just trying to be like Halloween, but without really too much life to it.
No, I mean, Halloween does not involve much psychology talk, even though Pleasance plays a psychiatrist. I mean,
Right.
No one wants to watch this, right, Charlie?
It's like the difference between those Star Wars prequels and the real Star Wars.
Yeah,
Where when you
no
watch
fun.
those prequels, there are two aliens talking about trade tariffs and some politics. And you watch the real Star Wars, and it's like a cool lightsaber duel and then adventure and good, charming moments.
The details make things bad.
The Phantom Menace is to Star Wars what Sorority House Massacre is to Halloween.
Yeah.
That should be in the SATs.
Oh, if you could get enough power to slip that in there, that would be great. It would be a long con. You'd have to get on the board and
Totally worth it.
a life's work. Yeah.
So that would be really nice. And it's filmed in '86, released 87 or '88 perhaps. I don't know if either one of you know, but and it shows. It shows. It's got a little more gloss, and it's got a lot less fun and a lot more just. It feels phoned in. It's not a labor of love. It's just let's throw together a movie without any heart. That's what's bad about bad late '80s. Some late '80s are good. Don't get us wrong, but there's a lot more of these. Charlie.
It's not a regional horror movie.
No,
And,
it's L.A. It's
because
LA.
it's so L.A. and when you have some of the regional stuff like Rana or something like that, you're gonna get a lot of wackiness, a lot of local color. Here you kind of get more of people just doing it for their job. It's not as much of a friends and family and getting a sense of a place that feels real. It feels like they just had some big old house that no one was using. It was like a derelict house. And they're like, we'll rent that for $50 for the weekend.
Yeah.
Hire some actresses for the lowest you can do, and then just like bang out a story. Where, some of the regional guys, they really wanted to make a movie and put their family members in there, and has a lot of heart.
Here. Any shock memories now? Shock memories. All I remember. You guys remember I made a CD of great quotes from the movies, and some of those quotes are on there, especially the "Let's eat Melanie's ice cream." So that's something that I remembered. And otherwise, what I remembered was long, boring discussions of dreams, and it lived up to my memories. Tom.
Yeah, in reading back through the books, there's some good quotes that we pulled out, and I started thinking, maybe it's more fun than I remembered, because there are some fun quotes if you take them out of context and play them in these little clips like this. But as a whole, it's pretty slow. There's so many dreams sequence, even they talk about dreams. You get to see dreams. There's like slow motion of people like walking down the street. It's just. It just drags on you.
Charlie.
Yeah, the whole movie could have gone up a letter grade or a star easily with a better lead actress and the character. You needed to root for her. She just needed to be like a little vulnerable but trying, and you'd be like, she's keeping her chin up, and she smiled like a couple times in the movie. Like Laurie Strode. Like, she wants to go out on this date. She reveals who the boy she really likes. Makes her infinitely more human in 5 seconds than this movie has humanity for this main girl in an entire feature film. One of my biggest surprises is we didn't nominate it for worst movie in Shock June.
What do you know which ones beat it out? And
yes, well, here's the nominees are. It was we had 5 nominees: Movie House Massacre,
okay,
Funeral Home,
oh wow,
Rituals.
What?
Which is much better. Alone in the Dark, and Mother's Day, and the winner was Mother's Day.
Oh, all of those movies are better than Sorority House Massacre.
Well,
perhaps the movie
Mother's Day is more offensive.
Mother's Day is very unpleasant.
Movie House Massacre, I recall being really rough to get through, but I barely remember that movie at all. That's funny. But
it's
Rituals,
weird.
just for the
Rituals,
tagline, it shouldn't have been nominated.
Movie House Massacre is weird enough to be granted more of a pass. This one is too. This one's so polished. This Sorority House.
Yeah. Well,
it's very written.
My apologies.
You have to measure things against their own possible achievement level, and this one should have been better.
Yes, very good point. And like Beth, I just hated Beth because like there's a moment where you're like, Beth, it's always got to be all about you, doesn't it? You know, anytime anyone seems to be getting the center of attention, oh, Beth's having another episode. We got to all analyze Beth's stupid dream. You know, I hate it. So there you have it, and I believe this is somehow considered part of the Slumber Party Massacre trilogy. Have you guys heard this?
Well, it's part of the universe because I can't remember. I've seen them all, but I think in Sorority House Massacre 2, which is really good, but it's Jim Wynorski, I think. So it's a whole different vibe. But I think there's some references in that one to the Slumber Party Massacre.
Yeah, and you wrote in the book that it picks up right after the events.
Yeah.
So
there's some connections. It's been a while, but
how about that? That's interesting. Yeah, well, the Slumber Party series has a lot more fun going on than this movie for sure. But that's interesting. Well, I guess we covered it. You guys feel good?
Yeah, just one little tidbit. I was just looking up, and one of the girl who plays Tracy, which I don't remember which one Tracy is, but she was also in Zero Boys. So that's
interesting.
Just a nice little touch.
Check that out. Yeah, check that out. Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, she deserves an original illustration to honor her.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next month with another exciting installment for Tom and Charlie. This is Farley saying good night.